Hey guys, so in this episode of Make It with Calvin, or more like Ramblings with Calvin, I figured I would kind of talk a little bit about something interesting that I saw posted on LinkedIn from a former Shapeways employee who left the company a decade ago, talking about how they kind of saw the handwriting on the wall for what has sadly happened to the company now. And I figured I'd expound upon it a little bit just to bring it up as a cautionary tale for people who want to strike out on their own, either with a side hustle, full-time employment, things like that, as it's a common pitfall that I've seen people do. So let's dive into it. I do also want to say at the beginning of the video, a heartfelt, I genuinely hope those who are affected by the bankruptcy of Shapeways are able to land on their feet and figure something out. I was kind of in a similar position with my the job that I held in January when they had to make the painful announcement that they were going to have to close up shop due to financial reasons. So I genuinely hope you guys can land on your feet, and I'm kind of putting this out there as a friendly challenge to companies like Xometry, Sculpteo, things like that. If you guys can come up with your own version of what Shapeways had, where you can upload an item, put it for sale to others, charge a commission, and then the company takes care of all the rest, that would be amazing. I know it's a bit of work, but I'm just putting that out there. It would be really awesome to see somebody take over that. But that aside, let's dive into the post that I saw here on LinkedIn that I found really interesting. Now, this was originally written by Marlene, who a decade ago left Shapeways, and she'll explain that in the post. And it was reposted by Jules, who was a plant manager for Shapeways. So kind of interesting coming from people who were part of a company that sadly is no more, as we know it. So Marlene wrote, "A decade ago, I made the heartbreaking decision to leave Shapeways. Monday, the door closed on Shapeways for everyone. That includes people like me who had models uploaded there for sale, and the staff. So obviously this is a very big deal, what is happening. Shapeways' demise has been a long time coming, unfortunately. I left because of the incompatibility I saw between continuing to raise larger and larger rounds of funding with the accompanying expectation of outsized returns, whilst in essence it was a solid manufacturing business that could not scale exponentially." Go back to that in a minute, but keep that in mind. "We had so much going for us, the world's first upload and print 3D printing service with the smartest, most dedicated team members, a quirky, creative, critical, and super loyal customer base, fantastic technology, and substantial funding. Back then, there was a clear path towards profitability, but the choice for a chance at exponential growth with high spending continued. This strategy has proven unsuccessful." And to be fair, it's not just Shapeways that has fallen into this trap of the venture capital money, the investor money, the whatever you want to call it money, will just keep flowing in forever, and we don't really have to turn a profit. We can just undercut the market. Yeah, it's not sustainable. So going back to what was said about the fact that they decided to take the stance of they had solid manufacturing, but it was something they couldn't scale exponentially, is really, really poignant. And I've seen a lot of people speculate, oh, it's because of the pricing, oh, it's because of the fact that everybody has a 3D printer now. I'm going to argue that I still have not seen a desktop sandstone printer, HP MJF printer, SLS printing, heck, metal printing of any kind. I'm talking either investment casting, direct metal laser sintering, binder jetting, none of that stuff. And I'll be honest, I used external companies a ton, be it Shapeways, Sculpteo, Xometry, to get things done. So yeah, I kind of take issue with people saying that. Now, I'm not saying that the hobby 3D printing sector may not have made an impact on this, but realistically speaking, for certain people who only need, say, 5 of one part made, and that is all they're ever going to need in their life printed, well, once you use up those 5 people, you've lost them as a customer through no fault of your own. And, or in the case of me, who would, randomly do batches of parts, even in my case, once I got done with that project, if there was no more demand for it, I wasn't ordering any more parts. So you might see an initial uptick in, oh my gosh, I got a ton of sales. I've noticed this on the Etsy shop as well. Get an initial uptick in sales. Wow, we're doing really good. But then once the market starts to get saturated, it will begin to plateau. And during that climb up, you have to make that painful decision. Do I save this money that I'm making for when things kind of level off, or do I invest in more equipment? I'm not going to tell you what to do either way, but I would definitely say have some money saved up for when you hit those lean times, so you're not, scraping by and going, oh my gosh, can I pay the electric bill this month? So I'm putting this out there, like I say, not to criticize Shapeways. What they decide to do is between them, their investors, God, that whole thing. That I'm not getting into. But I'm bringing this up just as a cautionary tale for people who want to get into producing things. I don't care if it's soap, 3D printed stuff, laser cut stuff. Be realistic with your expectations and know that once the newness wears off, you got to be able to, keep marching forwards, but you also got to be smart financially. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I will say, I do genuinely hope maybe some former employees of Shapeways, an existing company like Xometry or Sculpteo or something like that can come up with a marketplace for items that need to be commercially printed. So, okay, I'll just throw out there the little light holder that I made for the life jacket if you're in an emergency. Something like that I would prefer to have printed in commercially available material, because I would assume it'd probably be tougher and would hold up longer. But the thing is, if there's no real marketplace that I can put that on, I don't want to order up a batch of 50 of them and then, well, I hope people buy them. You kind of get where I'm going. So I genuinely put that out there as a friendly challenge to companies, and yeah, I'd love to see someone take the concept of Shapeways, who were a trailblazer in that sector. And honestly, if it wasn't for Shapeways, I don't think I would have gotten as heavily into 3D printing as I was. So I gotta hand that to them. But sadly, nothing lasts forever. But with the trail that they've blazed, I genuinely hope somebody can come in and take that concept and do better and better with it. So if you guys have any comments on this, please leave them down below, but please try and be respectful of the fact that a lot of people are out of a job now and having to deal with the absolute nightmare that is unemployment, figuring out what their future holds and all that stuff. It's definitely rough, but I'd love to hear your comments, concerns, questions, anything like that. Sculpteo, hey, if you guys are listening, I did a bunch of business with you. I'm happy to talk about ideas. Okay, see you guys later.